What's going on, fellas? A little while back I put out a video titled The American Rifleman's Belt Kit, going over my own personal setup. The thing is, I love kit. All kinds too, be it chest rigs, battle jackets, plate carriers, whatever. I find them all neat in their own way and don't believe there's one correct system to rule them all, so to speak.
One ring to rule them all. One ring to find them. One ring to bring them all. And in the darkness, find them.
Same is true for belt kit and their setups. I mentioned in my video I was about as indecisive with my pouch placement as my wife is when choosing where to eat. And that's because there's many different ways to skin that cat. The option I presented isn't perfect for everyone, but it's pretty good for me. Videos like that are fun to make because I get to talk about something that I love and hopefully give a few ideas on what may or may not work for you. After dropping the video, the boys and I were talking and thought it may be a good idea to show some other examples. Ideally, ones put together by individuals other than myself, allowing you as a viewer to get a much broader picture of belt kit should you decide to pursue a similar path. Or perhaps you're already on that road just looking for some inspiration. Nevertheless, it would give examples on different ways to tackle the same problem or even highlight similarities across multiple platforms. For example, if you're new to the training, tactical, or preparedness community and you're having trouble, say, figuring out where to put certain items or pouches on your setup, seeing the kit of 10 other people will start to give you a better idea. Even if 7 out of the 10 setups are very similar, that may indicate to you it's something worth trying. So that's what we're going to do. An attempt at a mini-series of sorts, showcasing the glory that is belt kit, and if possible, talking with their owners, asking them the what, where, when, and why behind their choices. I'm G, and I run the Rebel Spirit Operations channel, and this is the American Rifleman's Belt Kit Volume 2. Hold tight.
I am the nation. I was born on July 4th, 1776, and the Declaration of Independence is my birth certificate. The bloodlines of the world run in my veins because I offered freedom to the oppressed. I'm many things and many people. I'm 200 million living souls and the ghost of millions who have lived and died for me. I'm more than 3 million farms. I'm forest, field, mountain, and desert. I'm quiet villages, and I'm cities that never sleep. I'm Nathan Hale and Paul Revere. I stood at Lexington and fired the shot heard round the world. I'm Washington, Jefferson, Patrick Henry. I'm John Paul Jones, the Green Mountain Boys, and Davy Crockett. I'm Lee, Grant, and Abe Lincoln.
Alright fellas, so I have a few of these videos already planned out, and if people seem to enjoy them, I'll continue the series and perhaps expand on it with other kit setups. Today I'll be chatting with my good friend Sparky, going over his belt and how he has it set up. Now, being my friend and someone I train with, going into this I obviously have somewhat of an idea on his kit. We all talk a good bit about this kind of stuff, and I've seen his many times when we're out there training, but I don't know a ton about the why behind it. I typically find people's decision-making process more insightful and helpful, so there's probably going to be a good bit on that, but we're also going to take a more in-depth look at the individual components. And I know disclaimers are boring as hell, but they need to happen. Neither Sparky or myself have ever served in any kind of professional capacity. Just a group of civilians out here doing our best to be prepared should future days grow darker, and who just so happen to share the same tism for guns and gear. We often look to the military for inspiration, but not necessarily validation as we develop our own system. And neither of us are trying to sell any particular products or concepts. We do have preferences that we have developed over time, and may even in some cases even advocate for certain brands or individual units. However, it's not because we're in relations with the company or hoping to gain something in the process. It's likely because we're just so damn pleased with it and we want to spread the good news.
Good news, everyone! I'm still technically alive!
All you manufacturing companies out there, let that be a lesson for you. If you make a truly quality product, you won't have to spend a dime in marketing. The people will do it for you. Focus on building the best product that you can and we will all be better off for it. Lastly, we had some audio issues at the start and end of the recording, so we're just going to cut out all the pleasantries and dive right into the topic. Without further ado, so people can't really see us right now, but we're sitting in a room filled to the brim with all kinds of gear and equipment. You're definitely not short on options when it comes to different types of LBE systems to choose from. So why belt kit, say over a chest rig or something else?
The reason I chose a belt kit, and I've been playing with this concept for a long time. I like history. I've read a lot of history. And up until the Global War on Terror, or GWOT, it has been a belt kit that's been run.
Yeah.
All the way until the 2000s when we went with Molly. And then we started doing like the fighting load carrier, FLC.
Yeah.
And getting more into like a vest.
Up there in the chest torso
Yes.
area. Yeah. That was relatively new. That's a newer concept compared to like, if you look at the span of history, right? Like moving your fighting load up to your chest instead of your hips, that's more of a newer concept. Is that right?
Yes, it is. And it's more advantageous to what we've always known as modern combat. Urban, using vehicles, and mechanized warfare. So belt kits do not do real well if you got to deal with any vehicles.
Yeah.
Purely. Just because everything's around your hips and waist.
Yeah.
However, if you have to do any sort of fighting that is sustained, and I'm not talking sustained in the aspect of like you're locked in combat for days and weeks. I'm referring to you're going out for a longer range of time.
Someone who doesn't have a huge logistical support infrastructure backing them on them, chest rigs kind of fall short for that area.
Yes. And we've all seen the stories where guys are on the ground fighting and they're running low on ammo, and either A, they have to go get bags of ammo out of the trucks, Jeeps, Humvees, whatever.
Yeah.
Or they're bringing a helicopter and they're kicking ammo out the doors in a hot LZ.
You saw a lot of that back in Vietnam and stuff like that.
We did on that, even though they were still running a more long-range stuff. You look at your recon guys that were either with Project Delta or SOG or the LERPs. They're running 30, 40 mags on them between bandoliers, belt kits, and in packs. But we saw through the global war on terror where they turn around and you got guys have 3 mags on their chest and 1 in the gun. Well, if they got in any sort of fight, now the military system is hurrying to try to get ammo to them. Or to pull them out as quick as possible. Because they don't have the ammo capacity for any sustainment.
Yeah, they rely heavily on their vehicle and infrastructure to back their people up, and that's great. Like, logistics wins wars, so I mean, if you can do it and get away with it, by all means, that's just something that we don't really have available to us as just private citizens. So, well, we'll kind of do a pouch by pouch breakdown here in a little bit, but kind of just looking at it, a couple of things are familiar to me. Why'd you decide to go with Carcajou as the main foundation of your setup?
So I went with Carcajou for the main belt portion as well as the suspenders to it, purely because the aspect of it that with the padding, I really like how they have that padding
on the hips
around it, but also I like having a lighter weight platform. I kind of wish, honestly, they would go with something kind of like the DZ rig from Crossfire with the front, with the cut. However, what I dislike about those is they have pouches sewn on.
Yeah, those 3 in the back.
Yes. Yeah. And then you only have the sides and front that you can adjust. On the Carcajou, it's a blank slate.
Yeah.
So I can adjust legitimately everything under the sun that I wanted and needed.
I agree. The negative about it is kind of like it's expensive to go that route, or a little bit more expensive. If you have to buy all your pouches and then the belt itself. Totally, it can be a little bit more expensive, but in my opinion, it's worth it. You can outfit it the way you want it to, and then you can always change it if need be. How have you been liking it so far?
I really enjoy it. My only real complaint that I've had is just the way the yoke in the front kind of adjusts. There's a lot of weaving back and forth, up and down with it, where I think they could have gone with a simpler system.
You're talking about just like a single strap down instead of down and back up? Yeah, yep. I agree.
They could have done that, but now you got essentially 3. And there's no way to really tape it or put tri-glides in there. Because then if you have to do any sort of micro adjustment, you're now adjusting 3 different things.
I agree, yeah. Well, aesthetically, it looks amazing. The Tiger Stripe family of patterns, in my opinion, just tends to do really well in their respective environments. Plus, like I said, it's just visually appealing. Any particular reason for your choice in that pattern?
I'll say I'm a Tiger Stripe slut.
It's gorgeous. It really is.
It is. I've started off with like the Vietnam Tiger Stripe. It's aesthetic. It's pleasing. It blends real well.
It does.
And I started messing with Desert Tiger a little bit. I wore a set of multicam Cry Precision pants, and then I had a true spec Desert Tiger top. And I was out in the woods, and me and another buddy were doing a little camo test, and the only way he spotted me, and I was standing up by a tree, was the multicam. The green and the multicam.
Yeah.
He had gotten within 10 meters of me in dead foliage before he noticed the multicam.
Yeah, it's actually worked shockingly well, especially, I mean, around our area, corn and other tall crops, quite common. And so once they harvest everything out and it's all dead, it blends in really well. I think even me and you did just kind of gooping around and did a little test. I was wearing, I think, the exact same setup you were just talking about, multicam bottoms, and actually that exact same true spec shirt, and took a picture. Luckily, the grass was still green. The multicam bottoms blended into the green a little bit, while the Desert Tiger Stripe perfectly matched the corn stalk. It was...
Yes, the tall corn stalks. If you would have been in it or even at a distance...
Oh, yeah. If I'd have just been like right there in it on the shoreline, so to speak, then yeah, you probably wouldn't have been able to see me at all. It worked out really well, shockingly well, actually.
At a distance, you would have been real hard to spot.
Oh, cool. Let's start talking about how you got your pouch set up. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but all of your pouches are from Spiritus, is that right?
Yes. All the ones currently on it are from Spiritus.
Yep.
There are a few I'm going to change out.
Okay.
And there's some I would like to change out if I can find a comparable pouch to do what I'm after.
So, why did you choose Spiritus?
So, I chose Spiritus mainly to start with. I like their spud pouch.
Yeah.
I wish it had a buckle on it, but I really like the spud pouch. I like that I can fit 3 magazines in it if I need. I can fit 2 of the 308 mags if I need. I can use it as a radio pouch if I need. They're
very versatile.
Very versatile.
Yeah.
And they also come in the Tiger Stripe patterns, both desert and jungle, which is hard to come by.
Absolutely. No, I mean, if you're looking for a very specific color pattern or camo pattern, it's you're only left with a few options. And luckily, Spiritus is a very great company. They make amazing stuff, and they actually offer it. So you kind of lucked out on that one a good little bit. The spud pouch is kind of...
It's almost like a staple if you're going to go with any sort of ammunition pouch that has a top. It's a great one. But you can also run them open top. Yeah. Many people do. They are just one of those pouches that you can buy for almost any kit and find a place for it.
Yeah, I only ask because on my belt kit, like basically all of my pouches for like 1 or 2 of them are from the same company, and not necessarily brand loyalty or anything. It's just pouches can be very much a personal preference type of thing.
Yes, they definitely are.
Well, we already talked about the spud pouches a little bit, but you got them at both your 1 and 2 o'clock, and that's on your support side because you're left-handed, so this is on the right-hand side. 6 magazines total, 3 in each of them. So have you had any problems whenever you're running 3 deep? If you try to pull one out, do you kind of yard sell the other 2 or anything like that?
No. So if you were to run them just straight up, yes, you would have problems trying to get them out because they are tight when you run 3.
Sure.
Or if you're running a PMAG.
I was about to say, if you run PMAGs.
I run metal GI mags. I run the enhanced projectile magazine, the tan ones.
The tan one.
With the blue follower. But what I did was I put mag pulls.
The actual pulls on them.
Yes, the actual mag pulls, what made Magpul famous. I put them on the middle magazine.
Yeah.
And
Grab that
way,
one first.
Yep. That is the first magazine that gets pulled, and then once you're done with that magazine, it loosens it up enough to where the other two are just easy to grab.
With the metal ones, I mean, they do slide out without grabbing the other two fairly easily. That is something that's I've noticed as well. I run metal mags and a couple of mine specifically as well, just for that reason, and the sizing and everything. How about like with the lid? So after you pull a mag out, does the lid naturally fall back in place? Do you have to like manually put it there, hunt for it, or anything like that?
For the most part, they just fall down where they need. They may be at a slight angle, but they're covering the mag pouch they are.
Right.
But it's when they are completely empty and that lid has that extra length that it would normally not have, that it may catch the Velcro on the next pouch.
Right, I hear you. Cool. So let's go on to the next pouch rider here. So what's this? What's the pouch rider next? The second spud called?
That would be the Spiritus small GP pouch. With it, I'm using it as an IFAK. In the front, there is a front zipper pouch. I usually in there keep my Gerber multi-tool as well as a map reading compass. And inside, I got 2 tourniquets. I got 4 chest seals, just because if you listen to people in Iraq and Afghanistan, they've had issues with chest seals melting together.
So one's just more of a redundancy than anything else.
2 of them, yes.
Yeah, 2 of them.
But I also have your decompression needle, nasal pharyngeals. I keep a roll of electrical tape in there, your gauze, all the fun basic medical stuff we have.
No, sure. Now, did you kind of put that together yourself, or is that like a pre-made one that you bought from somewhere and then just stuck it into that pack?
It is items that I bought separately.
Yeah.
And put it in what I was after. Inside my pack, I also have the boo-boo kit. I have all the other stuff.
Right. Keep the IFAK separate for IFAK,
yes.
so I agree.
I'm after serious bleeds, serious wounds.
Major trauma. I agree. Personally, I actually like to see people make their own IFAKs. It's not hard to do as long as you get the right materials from the right companies. North American Rescue is a great place to get. I think that's kind of just like a staple in our community. If it's not from them, it's probably wrong. That's not necessarily the case. They just have really good quality control and you can trust them. That's all that we're saying. And one gauze is the same as other gauze to a degree, but, is that gauze sterile whenever it was packaged?
Yes.
All right. Yeah, it's just good to see people make their own stuff because, some of the prices that some of these other IFAKs are, for the components that you're getting, it's not really worth it in my personal opinion. See, you keep a pair of trauma shears in there. Is that connected to the pouch itself, or are they just kind of tucked in the middle?
They're tucked in the middle between the actual built-in malice clips and the actual belt. Okay. They're tight. They're shoved in there.
Okay, so you haven't had a problem with them falling out?
No, I haven't.
Cool. Well, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out what's in this next pouch. Safe to say you prefer canteen method of carrying your water over, say, something like a Camelback?
Yes, I prefer the canteen method. I do have clean canteens, which are stainless. I keep those in the rucksack. Okay. I don't want the shininess of a metal or the sloshing.
Yeah.
Camelbacks, I've never been a fan of. I don't like dealing with the tube. I don't want to have to clean the tube. The bite piece flopping around.
The cap never stays on it, and it's always going to get full of sand, dirt, whatever you want.
Yes, so I prefer the canteen method, but I'm not necessarily a fan of these pouches. These are 2 of the ones that I would actually change out if and when I can find
something
else to replace it that does the role I need.
These pouches right here, they can't hold a nesting cup, can they?
They can some of the titanium, but they're tight.
Okay, it's really tight.
But it's kind of a love-hate relationship because you don't necessarily want something loose.
Yeah.
But at the same point, you don't want it super tight.
Right. How the pouch has been on, like, reinserting. So if you're, like, walking and you're trying to reinsert, not necessarily walking, but just have it on you. If you're trying to reinsert, like, the Nalgene back in it, does it hold its shape well?
Yes, it holds its shape. The only problem is where I have them located on the back, trying to snap back down.
The buckle. Yeah, that can be a little bit of a challenge to reach back there and grab it.
However, at the same point, I also don't want to try to mess with the zipper.
Same.
So It'll sit in there. If it's loose, it's loose. I can either A, have a buddy snap it shut for me, or B, it'll just ride the way it is.
I mean, you can always take it off. It doesn't take long to put these suckers on and off either. So, I mean, take it on. If you're like stopping for a rest, take it off, take your water out that way, whatever. I always just like checking. That's the worst case scenario, is like pulling from it as you're moving. That's kind of like one of the beauties of the Camelback that people like. But I'm with you on the same boat. I don't want to deal with the potential of a frozen tube, which people say they fixed that problem. Cool. But you also have to clean that hose really, really well. And if not, it's just completely useless after that. So tell me about this. What is this called? Is it just called the butt pack from Spiritus?
So Spiritus had an LBV conversion, so to speak. I don't know if they still do. I think they may have even discontinued it at this point. But what it was is it took their 34 Alpha, which was my previous kit before this one.
That's right.
Was a 34 Alpha, and it had a butt pack and X shoulder straps. And there were things I really liked about the 34 Alpha, things I didn't.
Yeah.
But I really liked the butt pack. This
is the one that's built like a dry bag, right? Or at least...
Yes, it's not a dry bag, but it's kind of built like it, meaning the top rolls
down and collapses and buckles at the side and everything like that.
Yes. But what I really like is it's smaller, so it really kind of forces you to not overstuff it.
Yeah.
If you're overstuffing, it means you're going vertical with it.
Yeah. Which is going to
it becomes uncomfortable. Yes, it fucks with your back and it becomes uncomfortable. So it really forces you to be like, no, I don't need a lot of stuff. So
I mean, it's not much bigger than what you would consider like a large sustainment pouch, but it has the potential to, if you really wanted to like pack upwards or whatever.
Yes.
And if you needed to carry something like just a larger item for whatever reason, you could. I like options. I like that you keep it like a more minimal style, keeps everything low, even. Could provide a good shelving for a backpack if your backpack actually rid that low. I don't think yours actually touches it.
I run the Plat Attack.
Same. Yeah.
And depending what season it is, whether my kit is tan versus green, also determines what pack I have. In my butt pack, though, I try to keep it pretty well for the kit that's on it.
Uh-huh.
I'm not really throwing a lot of sustainment stuff.
Well, actually, what do you have in there?
So inside I have Bridgeford, I think is the company, they're almost like sandwiches, but they're an individual pack, almost like an MRE's main course.
Oh, okay. Like something that you can eat cold, basically.
Yes.
Yeah.
You don't have to heat them, which is also why I chose those as an emergency thing. Literally rip the wrapper, you got them.
Yeah, save space and everything,
yeah,
too.
But they're down at the bottom because I don't plan on really needing it. I have a poncho as well as cordage, shock cord, and other line that I've cut and attachment points and all.
Absolutely.
And then I have a water filter.
Okay.
A Sawyer Mini set.
Just a little mini, just a backup.
Just Sawyer Mini. If I need, I can bladder fill it. Right. I can hook it up to a water bottle, something just to be able to get clean water if I need. I keep a spare battery for the radio.
Okay, yeah.
I keep a weapon cleaning kit in there.
What all do you put in it?
So I have a military Otis for 5.56, but I also threw in a cat tool, which I swear by them.
The cat BCG cleaning tools?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, I'm not paid by Cat. They don't even know who I am. But I have several of their tools, and I think they're the greatest thing on the planet for cleaning an AR. And then I have a weatherproof box in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't necessarily need the weatherproofing of the box, mainly the size and shape.
Okay.
And in there, I keep several different items. I keep the cleaning brush for the 37 millimeter launcher. I have a separate case of spare batteries that has basically everything for every light, laser, optic, night vision, everything. I keep that in there, and then I keep a flask full of gun oil.
Why's that?
Because my role in our group is support gunner.
Yeah.
At the moment, I'm running a quasi M27 IAR.
Yeah.
I've built my own to certain specs that I had for what I was after. But regardless, my role is support gunner. So that's why I have so many magazines and oil.
Oil, yeah.
You got to keep that thing going. An AR, for the most part, as long as you keep it wet, it'll keep going for you.
That is true. I mean, if you get good parts, that is true, though. All right, so you got like a little mirror image going on there. Satisfies my OCD. So right next to it, again, you have just another Nalgene pouch, exact same one that we just covered, right?
Yes.
Why don't you keep all your water, say, in your pack versus your, having at least a little bit on your body?
So I like having water on my body more so because I can have my ruck on, reach my water, and not have to take the pack off to do it.
Actually have to have like a stop and break moment.
Yes, I don't want to have to stop, dump the pack.
I agree. And it's not always like you don't always want to have to inconvenience the entire group just because you get a little cotton mouth or something like that. So no, that totally makes sense. I know a lot of people are starting to put like basically all their water on their backpack, which is, I have mixed feelings on that one. In a large way, it can be good, but again, I prefer water on my person.
Another thing with that is medical. You may need water to clean something off.
Oh, that is true.
And or kind of wash blood off.
Yeah, and see actually.
Put a chest seal.
Yeah, you might actually just need to actually see your wound, clean your wound. That's actually a really good point. Something I didn't even consider. So yeah. So let's go ahead and move on to the next pouch. It's got a lot going on right there. So what is that one called?
So that is the Spiritus Mutant.
Okay, I've heard that name before. It's 2 pouches in one, right? Something like that?
Yeah, it is. It's a mixture. Myself, first thing is when you lift the buckle is my boonie hat.
Oh, okay.
And I keep the boonie hat in there because it also serves 2 purposes. One, it's a hat. 2, inside that boonie is a signal panel.
What's in the bottom of it?
In the bottom of it, I keep 2 smoke grenades.
Okay, the throwables?
Yes, throwable smoke grenades. And then beside it is my Prick 152.
Okay, yeah. How does that fare when it comes to, because we were talking about it earlier, carrying the actual weight of the radio? It's a very heavy radio. It's heavy at the bottom, it's heavy up top, and it's kind of like it wants to lean away from the body always. How does it do carrying it?
So it actually does really good carrying it because it changes its direction.
Mm-hmm.
It is sitting sideways, so it's odd because it changes the weight dynamic of it.
Okay.
Where it wants to lay out. It would be trying to lay out into another pouch. Only complaint I really have is when you try to mess with the radio. And that's more so just the nature of
carrying a radio.
Carrying a radio.
And that's on your dominant side, right?
Yes, I like to keep that on my dominant side. Note I'm left-handed.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you keep the PTT on your dominant shoulder side as well? Is that right?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And it doesn't interfere with you shouldering a rifle or anything?
No,
like that?
Because the way the straps are with the Carcajou, they run more linear to the torso of your chest.
Yeah.
So they don't really sit in the pocket of your shoulder. Plus, I hook it more on the inside, almost where the center sternum strap is.
Yeah.
In around that area. So I'm not really worried about the stock.
Speaking of PTT, which one do you run?
I'm sure I'm going to screw up this guy's name. I apologize. It's like Silinx. It's
like a company or a dude?
It's a company as far as I'm aware.
Okay.
But they make a really good PTT.
Okay, yeah.
But, I mean, when you name your company something weird.
Yeah, don't be surprised when people pluck it up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I really like the button location. It's harder to ND your radio.
They're recessed in there a little bit.
Yes, they're recessed. They have 2 different buttons that you can choose from, plus the hook holding it to your kit is way better.
Oh, I know. Good Lord. So the alligator clip, that's like my major complaint on the one from Disco 32 is the old school alligator clip that's been around forever. I don't know how it's been around this long and still nothing actually fits it. This little micro clip that you have on the back of this thing actually clips in really well. It's not going anywhere, is it?
No, it sits real nice.
I'm just curious. We don't have it out here, but what ear pro do you have connected to that?
Hooked to my helmet, I have my Comtac 3 dual leads.
Okay.
Because on the plate carrier that I have, that I can run in conjunction with my Carcajou kits, I also have radio pouches. Yeah. So I can run 2 radios if I need. And that's a whole other realm we can get into on why 2 radios versus 1 radio.
Right now, this is all theoretical just training for us at this point.
Yeah, the LARP game is strong.
It is very strong, and it's fun. It's a good game to be in. So I guess we'll hit up these last 2 pouches, which are the exact same 2 as the first. 2 more spud pouches, each, carrying 3 more mags apiece?
Yep. So there's 12 mags total on the kit.
Okay.
Plus a D60 that stays in the gun.
So we won't get into ammo loadout theory here too much, but it looks like you're a believer in more than the typical 6+1 loadout.
I believe in more than 6+1.
Fair.
So in past kits, I've run generally between 6 and 8 on the kit, and then all the other ammo goes in the bag.
Yeah. Well, that pretty much covers the entire belt. I love seeing it. It's a kit made for a specific role and for a specific, rifle at this point. I mean, it's basically just something that carries a lot of ammo, carries to communications, and enough water to just, not keep you dead before you keel over from Mother Nature. Well, cool. I appreciate you giving me kind of like the rundown of your thought process on it. So as an added benefit, Sparky let me borrow and run his kit for a bit. Being a good friend of mine, he's let me test out many of his past setups, but I haven't had the chance to run this particular one prior to this video. We actually built out our kits roughly around the same time, and funny enough, even managed to have a very similar setup as far as pouch design and placement goes. Should go without saying that this setup works quite well for me personally, but I wanted to try and evaluate this kit for the role it was going to fulfill. Sport gunner is the term that more or less fits his role within our group. Not quite the same way as implemented by the military, since we're a smaller civilian group with civilian based in goals, but with some similarities. A component of his role is that his rifle needs to be up and in the fight as much as possible. And with that comes the requirement for a lot of ammunition. 360 rounds spread out over 12 mags plus the D60 that lives in the IAR he's currently running is a fairly decent starting point. He also has more ammo available to him in his pack, and each team member such as myself carries a spare D60 as well. But we will just stick to the kit as this video will be long enough as it is. As far as capacity goes, given the weapon platform he's currently running and his role, I'd say it's a sufficient amount. It's hard to really justify or calculate how much ammunition is really needed as there are many factors at play and it would take some time to get into all the details. I promise I'm actively working on a video going over that topic, but for the time being we're just going to have to settle on I believe it's a good balance, which is also how I would describe his choice as far as pouch placement is concerned. In a perfect world, you'd have all your ammunition accessible with your support hand, and with systems like chest rigs this largely comes naturally. However, with platforms like belt rigs, it can become a bit more challenging. He could have lined up his entire right side with all of the spuds, but as mags got depleted, his entire belt would become seriously off balance. Doing it this way allows him to really manage that weight as it comes and goes. That being said, the spud pouch really struggles to support 3 magazines, and personally these are not my favorite pouches for carrying ammunition. The lid of these pouches are really good to conforming whatever's inside of them. However, they struggle with wanting to fall back into place, even more so in the prone position. You as the shooter have to be very conscious of closing it back up so you don't lose whatever's remaining inside, especially on the belt. More than once when I went to go do a mag change while in the prone position, I ended up not closing the pouch properly due to my haste, and when I would either go back for a second mag or stand up, I would find my remaining 2 mags on the ground and my pouch empty. This could be something I could overcome with training, but I feel like the combination of carrying 3 mags in them plus the very nature of the pouch just doesn't make them ideal for magazines. On a chest rig they fare much better, but on a belt line they just didn't work for me too well. His IFAK is very well built out and has all the components you want to see. Personally, I would have gone with extra gauze versus the extra chest seals, but he had good reasoning. I would like to see some sort of medical identifier on it, and even though the shears are stuffed behind it fairly well, having them tied off would be a wise addition, but these are mostly nitpicks. He has 2 tourniquets, which is probably the minimum amount one needs to carry, but I would say having at least one of them accessible with either hand is going to be the right call. He mentioned the Nalgene pouches were not his favorite, and I would have to agree. While they are very sharp looking, their lid system leaves part of your canteen exposed, which isn't a major concern, but I would like to avoid that if I can. And they are a bit more tedious as well, for no real benefit other than the most minuscule amount of weight savings. When I asked why he chose to carry some water on his kit versus carrying it all in his pack, his answer, part of the reason being for cleaning wounds in case the IFAK is busted out, is a very good consideration. The butt pack I actually like more than I initially thought I would. I'm a big fan of pouches that give you options as long as it's not at the expense of its main function. It does tend to kind of sag away from the body, which I don't care for. However, he didn't have it loaded down with a ton of weight, and it was packed down fairly small, so it wasn't a particular problem while I was testing it out. But if you were to ever bulk it up, that may be something to keep an eye on. The contents of it was, again, fitting for his role, and I like that he wasn't trying to fit the entire kitchen sink in it. The cleaning kit is something that may be best off in a pack, but that may just be my opinion. As a civilian, I don't expect to be too far from my pack for too long, and if I am, well, I imagine I won't be needing a full cleaning kit 99% of the time. That being said, I did like seeing the small flask of oil and even picked up one for myself. Backup batteries are always wise to have on hand, and it's good that his are stored in a weatherproof container. Poncho stats aside is a solid choice as well, not only for personal use from the elements, but also as a way to make a temporary blind or something like that. They may not be the best at doing anything in particular, but their versatility makes up for it in my opinion. Given this belt is meant to be used in the colder seasons, I would like to see some extra protection from lower temperatures. A face mask or a beanie is the obvious choice, but he may have that covered elsewhere, and wanting to keep his fighting load geared more towards just that instead of sustainment. Some mesh netting may be a good middle ground if that's the case, and can be used in a similar fashion as the poncho, providing both warmth and concealment. If you think I'm being a bit picky during my evaluation, well, it's because I am. All in all, it's a really well thought out system, so I have to look into some of the details in order to not make it one giant praise piece. Everyone in our group plays devil advocate with each other when it comes to our choice in gear, equipment, and how it's implemented. However, like I said at the start of this video, there isn't one universal standard when it comes to how an individual sets up their LBE. Personal preference plays a large role, and it's not so much finding out what you like as it is finding out what you don't like and what won't work for you. And the only way to find that out is to spend time in your gear. Outside. Ideally with some friends. YouTube and theory crafting with the bros is great, but there's no supplement for just trying to do something and seeing how it plays out. Anyhow, that does it for this video. If you made it this far, know I appreciate you, and I make these videos specifically for people like y'all. Don't forget to check out the website, which will be linked down in the description below, and let me know your thoughts on how this video turned out. I enjoyed making it and hope to make more, but only if all you Tulip watchers like it. Anyhow, this has been G with Rebel Spirit Operations, and I'm out. Later.